All right. Hello and welcome everyone to this week's episode of the GGG Podcast, episode 63. Chugging along in January, the long month of January as it continues to roll on. We got a little bit of news today, lots of little sprinklings of stories. Of course, we're going to talk Switch 2, which Phil and I correctly, more so Phil than me, correctly predicted was announced the day after we recorded our podcast. Are you feeling proud of yourself, Phil? For oh, here we go.
I'm about to blow out the mic. Just watch your ears. I was right. Yeah, no, I freaking called. I think everyone kind of knew this one was coming. The leak just felt different this time. It was a pretty interesting thing to see. We will talk about it more, of course, later. But, I predict that a lot of our predictions are going to be coming true this year because we are on the ball. And that just shows to go, if you're a gambler, watch our podcast and then start taking bets. I don't know who you bet with. There's probably someone in Las Vegas that'll take that bet.
Sure, yeah. Or you could just play the stock market and buy Nintendo stock, I guess.
Yeah. Next bet, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is going to be an 8.2 on
Metacritic.
Take that bet. Take that bet and run with it.
Yeah, that's what we should start. Just an over-under on game news.
Just review bets.
Review bets. Right on. All right. Very, very, very cool. Very proud of you. Thank you for doing that research and discovering the Switch announcement. So we'll get into that. But before we do, make sure to like and subscribe to our podcast over on YouTube. If you haven't already, we'd really appreciate it. And if you're listening to the audio-only version on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, follow us over there as well. As far as games this week, kind of an interesting smorgasbord for me. Been playing a lot of Marvel Rivals. I am definitely, full blown addicted.
Good.
So, which I think is the point. I think it's meant to be addicting.
That's why it's free to play. Get in your veins,
Exactly. So yeah, I've been playing a lot of that. I've gotten a lot better at the game, and I think so has everyone else, which has been a little painful. So yeah, there's been that. I also finished Star Wars Outlaws. I did not do all the collecty questy things because I was like, I don't want to do that. I just want to end the game. And as I suspected, not finishing other aspects of the game had absolutely no impact on the ending of the game.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it kind of pissed me off a little bit. This is a minor spoiler alert. But it has the reputation system, and as I discussed with you, is one of the few bright spots of the game, having the reputation system with the different syndicates. And I was like, before going into the final mission, it'd be really great if I had an excellent reputation with every syndicate in case I come across any of those syndicates, and having a good reputation actually impacts gameplay and story, and it absolutely did not in any capacity. So that was a waste of time grinding that progression.
I would love if there was a moment in the final mission where you're hiding around a corner and then Jabba's in whatever the big bad meeting is, and he sees you and you just do one of these and he goes
Yep. Yeah,
and then he lets you sneak. But no, they couldn't even put that in the game.
No, they just the ending was the Empire. It's all the Imperials and whatnot.
Of course.
And,
I'm sure they will actually have the release of more content for that game. Mm-hmm. But I was just thinking about how I doubt that they're going to really invest much into it at all. And this is why sort of the what are they called? The post-launch roadmaps or whatever.
Yeah.
And, buying an edition that comes with all the DLC is always kind of BS to me. There's no guarantee that we're going to get that, because after the response to that game, they're not going to put in a lot more time and effort. They're just going to move on to the next thing. So you're going to get maybe a mission where you hear Lando and see him on a holocron, and that's it. That.
Yeah, I mean, I think we did get there was a Lando DLC, a Kessel Sabak, DLC
Mhm.
and that. I don't think any other DLCs have come out for it, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But yeah, it was really disappointing. It's just like it altogether was just not a good game, and I felt like this should have been a Star Wars RPG, and it was not. And
Mhm.
it was, what really pissed me off is I wanted to do that reputation thing, and for the Pikes, who are the easiest people to piss off in the game. But if for the Pikes, if you get an excellent reputation with them and you unlock their reward, they have an Imperial disguise outfit that you can get. And the entire last mission of the game was me infiltrating an Imperial base, and I was like, "Well, I should just be able to use my disguise and be able to walk through this area like you would be able to do in an RPG." Or
Yeah.
like, in like a CD Projekt Red game, for example. It's like,
Mhm.
well, there's multiple ways you can do this, but you're
But
not
no.
allowed you're not allowed to do that. And
Mhm.
then in the last like after credits scene of the game, it shows the main character dressing up as an Imperial agent and infiltrating an Imperial base. And it was like, wow, I really wish I could have done that. That would have been cool.
That idea that I had. Thank you, game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So yeah, finished that. Started Dragon's Dogma 2.
Mm.
So which has been interesting. I'm very on the fence with it right now. Like there are things that I like about it. The
Mhm.
game lacks a lot more polish than I thought it would. There's a striking amount of like barren houses that I walk into where it's like there's nothing here at all. Why did you let me come in? It's cool that the door opens,
Mhm.
but if there's nothing inside, like
Why did you lock this?
yeah,
Maybe.
why did
Um,
you? Yeah, you played that
Dragon's
game.
Dogma 2, yeah. No, it's a game a lot like Dragon's Dogma 1 where some of the best moments are like the diegetic, like the things that just happen in that game randomly.
Hmm.
Like where you're fighting a lizard person and then all of a sudden you see like a bunch of elves drowning themselves and you're like, "What's going on?" And there's some sort of weird glitch. It's just it all works really well like from very video gamey logic.
Hmm.
Um, for example, there's like cyclopses, and if you shoot them in the eye, or like you can climb almost any enemy, and it allows you within like the combat gameplay and with like your relationship building stuff to kind of do whatever you want, and then
Hmm.
the story tries to catch up with that, and it typically doesn't. Um, I don't know. I think I just really like the character classes in that, and I think you might as well. But it's something that you can get kind of lost in, but it's not like a great story by any means of this
Yeah,
imagination.
I mean, like, yeah, the story is whatever, but like the classes definitely seem like the most interesting. I picked a mage to start, and I know you can switch classes, which is fantastic.
Okay.
But the mage gameplay, it just doesn't really feel right. It just feels very stand there and do a thing, and
Mm.
like I don't know if it's I'm playing a controller, and it's like there's not even like doesn't even like vibrate or anything. Like maybe I've just been spoiled playing with the DualSense, but but just like I feel like this should feel more tactile than it does, and I feel
Yeah.
like maybe I should just play as a fighter because this is how the game is kind of supposed to be played.
Yeah, Board and
So
Sword is great, and then like rogues are great. There's a lot of cool abilities that you get, but they're all tied to class. And I do feel like Mage is very OP later in the game, but
right.
starts out like in most games where you just kind of feel like, all right, I'm just off here in the corner doing like a
Pew pew
pew.
pew pew pew
Yeah.
pew. Yeah, yeah, type thing. So we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna try and stick with it. Yeah. So what have you been up to this week, Phil? What have you been playing?
A lot of Marvel Rivals, a little bit of Magic the Gathering, and I keep popping on my PlayStation just like while we're finishing up like dinner, like we're waiting for something to cook. I've been playing a lot of Sifu again,
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
and I think it's related to me introducing my fiance to watching Cobra Kai. So we are watching a lot of that, and I think the kung fu is seeping into my brain, and I just want to see
Yeah.
people get hit by fists. So I think that's it's. I'm trying to play a Cobra Kai game, and I know there is one, but I think Sifu is the closest to a Cobra Kai game that I want to
Yes.
play.
Absolutely. How far have you made it in Sifu?
The fourth club or the
Okay.
fourth like level. I think
I
there's
think
one
that's a
more.
yeah, I think that's around where I got.
Yeah, it's good. It's just tough. It gets
It's a hard
so
game,
tough.
and you really have to learn its style of combat. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not. It's got great gameplay, but yeah, it is tricky. You have to reorient. If you're just like, oh, I'm going to play this how I do any other game, you are not.
No, I have to like delete some save files in my brain of how combat works in video games to make that
Yes,
game work.
absolutely. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, pressing on with the pod, our major release for this week, Synduality Echo of Ada. You've probably never heard of that game before, and neither did I. But it turns out this week,
It's real.
not big in the release category. Yeah, there is the game Synduality Echo of Ada is a real game. It is a mech game. Feels kind of JRPG-y a little bit. Getting very mixed reviews. It's a mech game, but it's a very like clunky styled mech game. It's like you play as a square that glides around, and it's kind of like, all right, well, I can go play Armored Core. I don't know. If
Yeah. I don't know. I think the thing is, if you can't make the game better than a game that's already out there, maybe make a different game.
Yes, perhaps. But shouts out to you, Synduality Echo of Ada. Hope you do all right. Not a very impressive looking game, but if you disagree with us and you think this is a really great game, let us know in the comments. Hit us up there, and we will respond to it next episode. But yeah. Since there's not much to talk about there, let's just get into the news, Phil. And with the biggest thing in the news that happened over this last week was the Switch 2 was indeed announced. As you said, we got the full trailer, and then we got the key trailer, which was the Donkey video that he released in response to the Nintendo Switch 2 trailer, which was so good. It was so on point.
The donkey kills it every time. We love his brand of gabagool. But yeah, the Switch 2 is indeed announced. Pretty much like a teaser announcement, because they basically said, what is it, March, February, that they're being like, we're going to have a treehouse soon, so please be excited.
Yeah, from what I heard, they're going to do a Nintendo Direct
That's what
on
it is, yeah.
February 1st. Is what I've seen, but again, who the hell knows with all these Nintendo dates? So,
Sure.
But possibly soon.
It's in the end of their video. I just I don't remember which day it's happening.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty interesting stuff. It looks, they even kind of starting from the beginning, bigger form factor, bigger controllers. They, in the trailer, have like the move around the the analog stick, probably to show that they've addressed stick drift somehow. Allegedly, it's going to be magnetically controlled, so you won't really have stick drift. But
oh, okay.
yeah, we'll see. And the other thing that they kind of highlight in the trailer that is a little weird is the Joy-Cons kind of going around like mice. Because allegedly that's going to be one of the functionalities that you can use it like a mouse on a surface. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that really seemed like the only new feature to me, to be honest. But, they haven't explained anything. But I also think there may not be a lot to explain. So, yeah. So I think that's a cool feature. I don't know what games you're really going to want to utilize that with. Like, I'd much rather just be able to use my Switch nunchuck as like a Wiimote, and just point at the screen, as opposed to be like, all right, now I have to play this on my coffee table.
Well, I think that it'll probably be better for like the store, right? If you could just like move it on your leg and like scroll around that way, just because I feel like the resistance makes you a little bit more tactily like able to precisely touch something. At least remembering the Wiimote and being like, no, I want you to be the center of the center of the screen, the center of the screen.
I mean, yeah, but I guess I was thinking it's like if they released a new Wiimote bar that you have to put in front of your TV, you would think that maybe the technology has improved a little bit, that it could be a little bit more precise. Or
Well,
you
for
can
the
set the settings of like how big is your television, so it actually knows how big your television is.
Well, for the
So,
tech to improve, it would have to be useful, and I think
right.
there's no use found for it.
I don't know what game are you gonna? I'm off to the races already. What game are you gonna play with your? You see I brought up what game you're gonna play, and you went to it'll be better for the store,
Yeah.
And it's just like, what are you gonna play? Civilization 7 on your, like what are we talking
I
about?
did have Civilization 5 for my Nintendo or for my Switch, so the Civilization games they do come to Switch. They're not too demanding. I could see a Civ game very quickly and easily coming to the Switch. I mean, listen. I think if Nintendo's got plans for it, Nintendo's got plans for it.
Right.
They usually. What was the game where like 1-2 switch where you try to figure out how many marbles there were in your little Switch controller? Nothing like that ever really came back. I feel like the DualSense has left that in the trash bin of history.
Sure.
But
I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I think this is a feature that, like a forgotten feature. It's kind of like the PlayStation adding the touchpad on the controller. It's like it's there, but do you really use it that much? It's like a couple games. Never. I mean, like Helldivers, uses it sort of. You're like, or like for maps, and games, it works like that. So maybe there will be some quirky functionality here or there, but I'm not sitting here going like, oh my god, they've reinvented the mouse.
This is how Wii bowling is played now.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I think. So the Switch to Nintendo Direct is April 2nd.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it's a ways
so
out,
much farther away than I said.
Which makes me think I'm not going to meet my June release date, because I'm guessing like at the end of that they're going to be like, and pre-orders are live either right now or in 2 weeks, and then the scalpers are going to get them all. But yeah, interesting stuff for it. A lot of people are talking about the price, what we think the price is going to be. I guess I would like for us on the podcast here to get ideas or pitch our ideas for what we think it should be. Take a second to think about yours. I'm thinking it's probably going to be around $399.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Why do you think that?
400, because the Switch 1 launched at 300. There's been a lot of, like, obviously things being, if the economy was in the same spot, if, I think 399 is like or no, 299, 300 was a really easy spot for them to hit when they originally launched.
Yeah.
And that gets it into people's houses. Essentially Nintendo products are all toys, so I feel like they like to keep them cheaper and even butt in on some of the production costs to lose money to like get you to be able to buy stuff easily. Mm-hmm. But I do think since things are more expensive, we've had so many shortages and setbacks, and the Switch 2 is going to be so highly sought after, I feel like $399 is going to be right in the zone for us.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to have a different opinion, but I think $400 is what it's going to be. I could maybe see $450, but I mean that's kind of, I don't know. Like do like a $449 type of deal. They're Nintendo. They could probably get away with it. So also I'm going to back up a little bit. So it turns out, so we were both right. So apparently there is going to be a Nintendo Direct in the beginning of February, as I said, but it is not the Nintendo Direct that is specifically for Switch 2.
I see.
But there will be Switch 2 content during this Nintendo Direct, so we'll get maybe a game, maybe we'll see the new Mario Kart or something like that. But for most of the major stuff, it's going to be April 2nd, 2025, as you said. As far as the pricing, $400, $450, maybe. I think that there's all these articles popping up today on IGN, on Games Radar, about how there's game devs are saying, wow, from that 10-second clip of Mario Kart, we can really tell that the Switch 2 is more powerful than the Switch 1. And it's just like, wow, really? You think so? Like, do you think that that's something that they would do? What is this
I think
reporting? What is...
it would be really funny if the Switch 2 was like just the Switch one, but like did 4K. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, look, Mario Kart looked good. I don't
Mario Kart still looks good. That's the problem. Still looks great.
Yes. So I don't know. I'm excited, curious. But yeah, very minimalistic trailer overall, minimalistic announcement. We didn't really get a whole lot. I'm wondering why they're just trickling out the information. It's very weird to me. So I don't know. That makes me think they want to push this for holiday, not summer, which would be against your prediction. So
yeah. And listen, I'll take the L on that one.
Well, we're not there yet. We'll
see. We'll see if Nintendo bails me out here.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of seasonal things, if you're okay to move on,
yes, please.
Let's chat about Marvel Rivals because they're adding a new Chinese New Year mini game, which you said people are affectionately calling Lucio Ball.
Yes, Lucio Ball.
I forgot we don't curse on this show, and I was about to say the F word to that because it is clearly a Rocket League, and I know what you're going to be saying. That's soccer. No, it's different. Rocket League happens in cars, and there's 3-on-3. Yeah, no, I think this honestly looks really cool, and I'm again surprised at just how fast and furious NetEase keeps popping stuff out at us.
Yeah.
New characters once every a month and a half, and then new gameplay modes. That it's just sure it makes sense that like they've got the physics engine in the game. I feel like the Squid Kid
game? Yeah.
What's the one that the Squid Kids play where you paint? The one that the Jeff seasonal event was.
Oh, I don't remember what it was, but the Jeff
Jeff seasonal event. That seemed more difficult in terms of like programming that when Jeff sprays it paints an area type of thing. Than this, because this is like the physics of kicking a ball around. Again, I don't know much about game dev, but it does seem like still a big lift for NetEase, who is managing one of the most popular games in the world right now. So I'm pretty excited about it. The new skins, I could kind of take or leave.
Yeah.
I'm trying to convince myself to not spend money on that game. And I still have to buy that Menace skin or whatever that one is for Susan Storm.
Yes. Yeah, I was playing with somebody who bought that recently, and I was like, raised a couple eyebrows for me.
How come there's no crouch button in this game? Where's the crouch button?
Where's the crouch button? Can I get the camera angle lower? Look, I am the same as you. I am like very happy that they're pumping out the content. I think that this was part of them holding off on releasing the game until December and then releasing season 1 in 2025. Like, I think that it was part of that of like, hey, we're going to have some backlog stuff ready. And they've been doing a very good job with that. Similarly with the skins, I could take or leave. It's Chinese New Year, Year of the Snake, very cool, I guess. We'll see if the game play is actually fun in this, or if it's just like do the quest and get out and go back to quick match.
I mean, quick matches are so good that the Jeff one was kind of fun, but it was also such a crapshoot every game that nothing that you did or didn't do would really contribute to you winning or losing the game.
Yes.
Like it would just happen.
Yeah.
But this one, if it is good, I'm very excited about it. I probably will spend a lot more time in quick play. But whatever missions are in there, I'm going to grind them out. I'm going to grind them out. I'm a hoe for them chrono tokens.
Yeah, because you can't get any. Oh my God. They've really... That's one thing that I would like them to address, which is like, I understand you want to put a speed limit. I get it, because people will run away with it. But like, I've been probably playing at least once a day, which is like a lot. And I'm still maybe on like page 3 of the battle pass. And that really is very irksome to me. And it's like, it basically makes it so it's like you have to buy the super battle pass to get all of the stuff. And it's like, I get incentivizing that, but I don't know. Give me other ways. Give me other ways to spend money, and I'll spend money. But
give me other ways to earn that credit too, because like if you only get them from your daily missions, your weekly missions, and like some of the activity things, that leaves you with a lot of time after you've played through. Let's say you got your dailies done and everything else is eclipsed. You could do that in maybe 2 matches if you're being real crafty and if you refresh things correctly. And then you're just chilling, not earning anything the rest of the game. Like, give me something where I can earn like 5 a match if I do something, you know?
Honestly, this is kind of a weird comparison, but this really reminds me of Halo Infinite, where you had the multiplayer progression completely tied to challenges as opposed to being tied to XP. And I think that the finals had a great hybrid of these two systems where it was like the challenges will give you, like if you complete this challenge, it will give you 10,000 XP. And so you'll get a huge XP boost off of completing the challenge. But regardless of doing the challenge or not, you're still earning some sort of XP toward the battle pass, toward your total level. And that is not how the game works. Like you have a level in the game, but it doesn't mean anything. It
doesn't mean jack diddly.
It doesn't. You just So honestly, that is the biggest problem with Marvel Rivals. Fix the progression system. There needs to be more stuff that it gives you. So
it's and it's a good problem because I still want to play the game even if I'm not earning stuff. I just kind of wish I was earning stuff. Like it makes me feel less guilty about time I spend playing the game.
Right.
But they do have kind of a backup progression system, which is a little bit more challenging, and that is the heroic journey, where you can get like the white storm skin and the
Star-Lord outfit.
Star-Lord outfit, yeah. And that has been pretty fun, but that one also can be really hit or miss to what you get out of it, or how you can achieve them. So
and that heroic journey, that's specific. Those challenges are always like character specific. So it's like do this move, pull off this move as Groot. But it's, I don't know, some of them are really tough. Like
very
I love playing Groot. I have not gotten the Groot one yet for that. And so
it took me a long time. Thor's one is that you have to do the ultimate and I think kill 5 enemies with it. And Thor's ult is so slow that it took me probably a good like 10 hours to get that one of just different matches of playing Thor. I got lucky. That's the only way that it got done. And there are several that are like that.
So there's this new tactic that I've seen online. It's called railgunning. Have you seen this?
No.
Okay. So it's a Doctor Strange and Thor combo where Doctor Strange will put a portal downward in the ground, and then he'll spawn the other portal above the objective, usually where the enemy team is chilling out. And then Thor will use his ult, go down through the portal, and down on top of the objective. And so you can't hit him or see where he's coming from. He just appears. He just appears for his slam.
That's really cool, actually.
Yeah, it's a really cool tactic. So try that out, people, and I'm sure I'll see that more often now. So, yay.
Just absolutely railgunning people.
Speaking of absolutely railgunning people, Monster Hunter Wilds, we've gotten a look at the different editions of the game. The deluxe pack, I believe, was one of them. What different editions do we have for Monster Hunter Wilds coming out, Phil?
It's just obscene.
He starts out with ugh.
Listen, I am probably most excited about Monster Hunter World than any other game that's coming out, at least in the first quarter of the year, or Monster Hunter Wilds rather.
Yes.
If I was more excited, I'd know the name of the game. Get in the comments and roast me, folks. But so the pre-purchase starts as a $70 game. Expected, makes sense. The Wilds Deluxe Edition is $89.99. That is $20 up. And the Monster Hunter Wilds Premium Deluxe Edition is $109. Another $30, $20 up from that.
Okay.
And you're probably wondering, what do you get? if you
Yeah.
get these versions. The deluxe version of the game comes with the base game and deluxe pack. I'll break down the deluxe pack in just a second.
Okay.
And the premium deluxe edition comes with the base game, a deluxe
Uh-huh.
pack, a
Uh-huh.
premium bonus, and two to be released DLC cosmetic packs.
Cosmetics packs was the first thing that you said that I actually understood and actually gave any detail. What is the deluxe pack? What is the premium? I don't understand.
Let's see, the deluxe pack. I'm gonna go to the. Oh, no, I can't even add that to cart specifically. The deluxe pack comes for a layered armor set, so an armor set that is just visually looks like something. And we
Okay.
get, I think, two of those. One of them is a horned wig. The other one is a feudal soldier.
Okay.
You get a decoration for your secret, the cool bird thing that you ride around. You get a layered armor set for your palico. You get a cool pendant and then a battle cry, a hairstyle, some makeup, a sticker set, and a nameplate.
So it's all cosmetics.
All cosmetics. Nothing in
Okay.
it that will change the gameplay. The premium bonus, this is an extra $40 up from the base game.
Oh boy.
Gets you all of that. So lucky. And then a hunter layered armor, wyvern ears. So dragon ears. Not even a dragon. A wyvern is a different creature, but it's like a flying lizard. Um, a hunter profile set, which I have no idea what that even means. And BGM, a proof of hero 2025 recording. None of that makes any sense. Like it is, I think it's like a little thing that you put on your character's name.
The title or whatever. Yeah.
It is the most useless stuff. And to one point, good. I'm glad that it doesn't affect the gameplay. I'm glad it's not pay to win. But why are you charging us $40 for a sticker set?
Yeah, that's freaking crazy. I
Yeah.
like so here's the thing is like I'm not against when you buy a different edition like different gameplay for that player. Like I'm not
Yeah.
against that. Like if like they've put a lot of work into the new like mounts in the game. Like if you had like an exclusive mount or something like that. And I'm not talking about like a mount skin. I'm talking about like this is a different breed of that thing, whatever it's called. And, you know, it runs slightly faster, but it doesn't, you can't really bank with it. It doesn't turn quite as, you know, I don't know what the vehicle slash animal stats are in that game. But you know what I mean? It's just like, I'm fine with like somebody paying more for just like a little gameplay. And also it's like, it's a cooperative game. It's not competitive.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
should be able to buy advantage, like if that's what they want to do. But like complete 100% cosmetics sounds ridiculous to me.
What you know what and you know what I would pay for a cosmetic in, and I did this for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. If you could change the way your mount looks, and I don't mean like putting cool ears on it or whatever, but make it like a different animal. Oh, I'm so in. That would be amazing if you're riding around like everybody's got a different monster, but like a miniature version of the monster from the game.
Yeah.
Incredible. Would be so in, but it just makes them look different. The more I think about this, the more I'm getting excited about things that I'm pretty sure won't be in the game, and I don't want to do that to myself.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking
But
about? Give me one of those things. One of those
uh,
things.
it would be so cool if you could like find other monsters that you could use as rides or use as mounts, and like find
Yeah.
their egg and then hatch them, and then like it has different stats, like you're saying, or it like helps out in battle occasionally. Man, that would be the freaking dream. I doubt that's going to be in the game, but I don't want to. I can't think more about it because it's making me sad.
I want a Palico game mode.
Where you play as a palico?
Yeah. I want that. You know, take down a little monster. That'd be great. Even if it was an event game. All right, we got to press on because we're running out of time. All right, so there's a report that just came out, and it essentially took a poll of people, game developers who are working and survived the recent layoffs over the last, I don't know, year, I would say, as they've been steadily having more and more layoffs throughout the gaming industry. And game devs are reporting that the use of generative AI is on the rise. And I want to specify this is different than like generative like game engine stuff, like what No Man's Sky did, where it's a generator, it generates things. This is AI infused with a generator, and so it's both of those things. And apparently 30% of game companies, and possibly and probably more of game devs, have reported directly interacting with generative AI. And it's causing a lot of drama in offices as people are worried that it's going to take jobs away, which is the classic AI argument right here. So they're worried it's going to take jobs away, and management and people at the top are simply saying that, well, it may cost jobs right now because it'll help the development of the company. It'll create jobs later. Which, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's how it works. I think that's really dependent on whether your company has success or not, and that's not dependent on whether you use AI or not.
I think that means that the boss is just gonna keep the money.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know how economy works, but it's so gross. AI has been a part of game development for a long time, but AI systems within games that people work on to make the gaming experience better and to make it more, to make generative things happen, to make in-game things happen that are not prescribed or pre-written, like to give the game some life. And I think that what this will do, making content that is usually made by people AI created, will just take the life out of games and will make them obviously worse.
Yeah.
AI is still, I mean, AI really isn't even AI. It's just like something that spits out the stuff that's been put into it.
Yeah.
And it's getting better at that. But yeah, I just hope that this trend falls off, and I really think that this sort of laziness on behalf of like the capitalist systems that we have in this I'm gonna go too far off here, but the laziness of like, hey, let's just make more money and let's have less people to pay to make the money, is just going to result in a lot of things dying off. And the people who do it right, like your Sony's in their first party development studios, the people who really care about it will do a better job and rise up. But a lot of companies who use this stuff will just absolutely crater in the long run. And that is sort of a scary concept, that gaming is going to be funneled because this is just going to create a lot worse games and people are going to stop playing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if that happens, that's, in the long run, probably a good thing, because it'll show people that if they're just using AI to spit out video games, that doesn't make quality products, and then they don't sell and they lose money. And so hopefully there will be a backlash financially to it, but who knows? I'd be very curious to see how involved AI is in like Marvel Rivals and stuff like that. I know there's already like AI for graphics happening quite a bit. So yeah, we'll monitor the situation as it expands. And talking about expanding, Bioware, I don't know, this isn't a good segue, but Bioware has officially switched its full focus to their Mass Effect game, which is officially the only game that Bioware is currently working on right now. And what I mean by switching full focus is the entirety of the Dragon Age Veilguard team has now been assigned to Mass Effect. So now there are about 250 to 300 game developers working on the new Mass Effect game, which is very interesting. And I think, I talked about this a little bit in the predictions last week when I was talking about Ubisoft, and I compared them to EA in a way that EA kind of stepped back and like, all right, we're not going to have a lot of projects in the pipe. We're going to do this one, and then we're going to do the next one, instead of just trying to spit out as many games as possible. So I don't know. It's comforting that Mass Effect is getting a huge team, but at the same time, I feel like Dragon Age Veilguard was a very it was a departure from what Dragon Age usually was, and it's not really what Mass Effect was. And I need the next Mass Effect to take a lot more risks than Dragon Age Veilguard did. So,
Yeah.
the good thing about this is that because they're being added to Mass Effect, you're talking about people who are not in like leadership roles. And so they're not going to be making the big decisions. So I don't know. I love Mass Effect with all my heart. I hope it's a great game, but I have no idea. And we still have yet to see anything other than Liara's silly little face.
Yeah.
So
I mean, hey, the Veilguard was technically very incredible, very proficient from all the gameplay statuses, world building. Like, a lot of the stuff was amazing about it. And I do think that their kind of return to a safer space was needed to an extent.
sure.
All that to say, good. I can't wait for the next Mass Effect game. I feel like Veilguard was closer to a Mass Effect game than it was to a Dragon's Age game.
I agree.
So, good news for us. Probably still a good year or two out from the next Mass Effect game, because I feel like this is like them pulling the full forces to do everything. They probably have the pieces built together, and now we're just tying the strings. So it's probably got like another year of development and maybe half a year of polish after that. But I'm just excited to see more of it and see what they're doing more
Yeah.
than anything else. Like, that's the next crazy big game that I'm excited for.
Yeah. Same. Same, same, same. All right. And last on our news this week, Sony has announced multiple cancellations for many multiplayer projects for big franchises, including God of War, Horizon, and Days Gone. Days Gone being the zombie survival game. Very much a cult classic, but definitely not at the same level as Horizon or God of War. This was interesting, especially because last week we talked about the Horizon multiplayer game and how it was supposed to be separate from Horizon 3. And so we don't know if this is the same game necessarily, but apparently it was a MMO style Horizon game. So yeah, that to me that sounds like Monster Hunter. That is, to
Yeah.
me, it's like then you're kind of directly competing with Monster Hunter, and I don't know if that's really the route to go. To be
Yeah,
honest,
Capcom's got that one kind of on lock. So
yeah.
figure out something else.
So yeah, but are you disappointed at all with this? God of War was supposed to have a multiplayer game. I don't know that I was particularly excited for that, but
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that excites me about the concept of a God of War, like, multiplayer thing, is that Blue Point was working on it, allegedly. But that is to say, all of these games are great examples of like fantastic single player games. We don't need to muddy the water by making a multiplayer version of them. I love multiplayer games. Don't get me wrong. We were just talking about Warhammer and how that had a very robust multiplayer component to it. And I think when that works for the game, that's amazing. That's excellent. I remember Gears of War having some of the best multiplayer for being like a very silly single player game. The Last of Us, same deal. People got very inventive with it. The devs were really like giving us something new. That was exciting. But to just jam it in there, to just make a multiplayer version of a game because it's a known IP,
yeah,
it just doesn't really make me want to play it. It seems like a cheap cash grab. And that is to say, I understand how hard it is to make a new IP and make people excited about it. It's expensive, it's difficult to do, and even still, if you do everything right, you make a great game, you promote the heck out of it, you are still rolling pretty much a 50-50 die, or flipping a coin to whether or not it's going to be successful. So, all that to say, it would have been cool to see these games. I'm sure they would have been good, at least. If not, maybe some of them could have been great. But I think that I trust Sony's gut here. If they're not going to make it, that's because they... And to be fair, I've heard that some of this is in response to Concord being as big of a...
that's exactly what I was going to say. So
Yeah.
yeah, keep going with that thought. Sorry.
Oh yeah, a lot of it is a response to Concord just being a major bust, and that also suffered from the problem that I was saying, where it wasn't a known IP. There was a lot of rich, robust lore to it, but it just nobody knew what Concord was, and nobody really cared. So that game had the 40 players and us playing it. So,
Yeah, I mean, I still think that Concord could have been successful if it was a free to play game, but it's just in 2024 to now 2025, like you are not selling a competitive first person shooter. Like it has to be free to play, and then you got to make your money on the back end because players are not. They have all of these other. They can play Call of Duty Warzone for free. They can play Fortnite for free. They can play Marvel Rivals. They can play Overwatch for free. So you can't just expect to charge up front in that space with a new game not connected to a franchise and expect to be successful. And so, but I look, Sony make the one thing that pisses me off about the Concord thing, and we don't know how exactly they're thinking about it, but it's like I really liked that universe. I liked the look of the universe. I thought that the graphics were amazing. I liked the style of it. I thought that the Concord episode in Secret Level was really great. But what the Secret Level short showed me was like, that's the game that I want to play. Not what the actual gameplay in Concord was, which was this team versus team deathmatch game.
Yeah.
What I want to play is I want to play a game in space where I run a crew and we heist. We get to be the Guardians of the Galaxy. We pull off heists. We do missions. And you can make that a multiplayer game. You can make it be like, all right, it's like it launches with these 10 missions or whatever. And it's like, all right, we're doing this mission. You have a game director in there. It can change certain things about that mission, like in Left 4 Dead or something like that. And then you just do the mission. You're like, okay, we need a heavy and we need somebody who can hack into things, be a little like fusion of like, what's the classic Payday. Payday is the classic heist game. Do something like that and put money and investment behind it. And I think that would have worked, but instead, they went the route that they went, and it's unfortunate.
Hey, like a Thieves versus Mercs multiplayer where like, someone's trying to break in and the other team's trying to defend, and it's like in a big open space, would have been so much fun. Some sort of isometric multiplayer thing would have been great. Hell, even an Uncharted but more open world and in space game would have been amazing. And this is not to say that Concord was bad. I enjoyed Concord quite a bit, but again, the fact that Helldivers 2, being kind of an unknown franchise, a cult classic at the time, but launched to as much success as it is kind of a miracle.
Yeah, kind of.
And even such, it was a $40 game that was smart. There was like a lot of positive things in that game, but like you said, there's so many free to play games out there, and they're all really good. Like they're just well-made games. It's hard to charge $60 up front for something that people might not like.
Yeah, and I think like with Helldivers, it is a $40 game. Concord was $40 too, but Helldivers is the kind of game that you want to play with other people, and so it's immediately like, hey, get this game because that's the we're gonna tear it up. You're not buying it and then you're getting your butt kicked. I mean, sometimes you are, but it's like you can play on the lower difficulties. You can play versus AI. So anyway, it's sad that things are canceled, but I agree with you, Phil. I think it was the right thing to do. I didn't want to see multiplayer iterations of this stuff. Be more thoughtful in what you're making, or actually, do a pitch. Like, listen to game devs of the games they actually want to make instead of forcing it has to be a game as a service so we can make money and we can compete with Fortnite and stuff like that. So
true.
Yes. All right. Well, that's all we have for this week's episode of the GGG Podcast, episode 63. Thank you for joining us. We will be back next week, coming up on the end of January. February actually has some games that are coming out, so that should be interesting. And I should hopefully finish my backlog of Christmas games by that time. We'll see how Dragon's Dogma evolves.
Shakes out.
Yes, shakes out. Did you beat Dragon's Dogma 2?
No. I think I got to the end game,
Okay.
And there's some stuff to do there, but I didn't finish the end game. Really, really fun for like have fun chasing classes and like chasing weapons. That is probably the best part of the game.
Right. Okay. All right. I will stick to that. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to this week's episode. If you haven't already liked and subscribed to our podcast, we would really appreciate it over on our YouTube channel. And if you're listening to the audio only version on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, follow us over there as well. Until next time, peace out, fellow gamers.